Hello, my name is Patrick Largey. I'm running for the 1st Congressional District in Oahu, most of Oahu. My policy of what I'm looking for to accomplish, first a little bit about myself. I'm a 23-year U.S. Air Force veteran. I'm very pro-military. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-Second Amendment. And I believe that in jurisdictions where they have strict gun laws, they have the worst gun violence, like Chicago, New York City. You get more people murdered with guns, with illegal guns, than places like Switzerland, where it's compulsory to own guns. And when you're able to own a gun, you have the right to defend yourself. Then you're less likely to be a victim, because nobody's going to attack you if they know you're packing. Vermont is also the same way. They have the same policies also. They're not as staunch as Switzerland, but they encourage people to own guns. And they virtually have no crime at all in Vermont. Hawaii, we could be more pro-Second Amendment. I think we'd be a lot safer. Secure borders. That's a big issue to me. They said there's estimated over 13 million illegal aliens walked across our border. They weren't vetted, they weren't health clearance, there was nothing. So we don't know if what their intentions are, and it's a financial burden on the U.S. government. I think it's more important that we secure our borders and get that under control before we do anything else. We don't need to be secure in Ukraine's borders. We're creating a lot of enemies in the world by having funding wars that are not ours. When I'm in Congress, I won't vote for wars that are not ours. If we have to fire up our war machine, then we should pay for it. But to just give billions and billions of dollars, the Democrats just recently paid or signed a 10-year pact with Ukraine for security. So that means they've already got $200 billion of our dollars. How much more are we going to give them? Enough already. I won't. If we can't afford it, we shouldn't be doing it. I'm toying around with an idea about subsidizing farmers for food security. We produce good, healthy, local food. Because it's subsidized, the farmers can produce more, and while they produce more, we get better, healthy, local food, more local jobs, and it doesn't have to be shipped from halfway around the world, wasting fuel. Red Hill, I'll go into a little bit about that. I was a little disappointed the way it was handled. You know, I think the people that got sick should be compensated, and they should do whatever it takes to clean that mess up. I have a few ideas, but I'll probably talk about it on the campaign trail. There's been the current representative from my district tried to repeal the Jones Act, but he wasn't successful at it. I believe with the right push and nudge, it can be done, or at least waived for a year, and to see what it's due. Because I believe if the Jones Act is waived for a year, then we can evaluate how it's going to work, how it's going to go. But I think we'll find that there's actually going to be more union jobs, more longshoreman jobs, because there's going to be more ships coming here. Rather than a ship going from Asia to California and then come back to Honolulu, doesn't make any sense at all. You wasted a lot of fuel. My green initiative is just to have a port of entry here in Honolulu for all the islands. I love America. I love Hawaii. I consider Hawaii's my home. I'll be 66 years old in August. I'm retired. I'm head of maintenance for a 43-story high-rise. I'm going to retire on August 1st, and I'm just going to put all my eggs into my campaign, because I feel it's the country's calling me to serve, and the state of Hawaii is calling me to serve, because we got a lot of problems out there. We got so much debt. We got $1 trillion debt every 100 days. I'm going to be the man that's going to try to stop that debt, get it under control, because I'll push hard. I'm a fighter. And thank you, and I'm Patrick Largey, and I approve this message. Aloha.
Youth advocates have been trying to get flavored tobacco and vape products banned statewide in Hawaii for years, but nothing much has changed. What will you do to make this happen and protect kids' health?
Aloha. I'm here to talk about my concerns and safety concerns and health concerns of young kids using tobacco products, vape products, flavored tobacco products. First of all, I think the more harmful ones, the vape and flavored, should be banned. But keep in mind, tobacco is a legal product that's heavily taxed through the federal and state governments. There is an income stream for it, but the prices, that income may be too high with people's health. Me as a former smoker have quit for like 40 years. I know it was a tough addiction, and maybe the age requirement, being able to buy them, should be a little later in life, and then they have an informed choice, maybe read pamphlets and stuff of that nature, just so they have a better understanding of what they're doing to their bodies. Thank you.
I see a lot of homeless people in our community, and it really bothers me. If you get elected, how will you help them find homes and get the support they need?
Aloha. My issues on homelessness, it's really problematic for our communities. It brings high drug use, high crime. It puts our people at victims. Something needs to be done with it. I would start with drug and addiction, alcohol counseling, drug counseling, mental health counseling, and the resources for the people to go so they can clean themselves up, so we can make them better productive people of our society. It's like the old analogy, chain is as strong as its weakest link. And we can fix this here if we pull together as a community and don't accept what's out there. They're so much better. We can do so much better, and all we have to do is treat people as people and make them better people just by drug and addiction and mental health counseling and job training.
Why is food so expensive in Hawaii compared to other places? What would you do to help families like mine afford healthier food?
Hello, I like this question. Thank you so much for this question. Why is food so expensive in Hawaii? I would say the shipping cost is coming from parts like California, ports of entry out of California coming all the way to Hawaii, when we could locally produce the food, put a little incentive into the farmers to produce more good, local, healthy food to sell at a lower cost to the consumers. Then we're not buying food that's already 2 weeks old. We're buying food that's maybe been picked yesterday and is good, healthy food. It would create local jobs. It would help our environment with CO2 and things of that nature. I think it's a real winner if we produce all our food locally, and that would give us people in Hawaii food security and food at a lower cost.
With natural disasters happening more often because of climate change, are we ready to protect people here? What will you do to keep us safe?
Yes, climate change and natural disasters. My opinion on it there varies. We live in the tropics, and we live out in the island in the middle of the ocean. There's a lot of things we can do. Just the simple answer is to plant more trees, have more controls on our industry so we produce less CO2 emissions, and we have a cleaner, safer Hawaii. This would go back to also producing the local foods here. You're going to be putting a lot more clean oxygen in the air and keeping us all safer. It's a no-brainer. You know, if we can do that and keep cleaning up our environment as we're doing. The Red Hill should have never happened. It's a price of doing business, and we should learn and move forward and do the best we can to be good stewards of our environment. And that's what I'll stand for.
My parents both have to work more than one job just to support our family. Why is that? And what would you do to help families not have to struggle so much?
Me as a candidate, I feel your parents' pain also about have to work more than one job. and maxed out credit cards to feed the kids here in Hawaii, especially in Honolulu, the 1st Congressional District. I'll have a plan when I go to Congress to reduce our taxes or give us a supplement like the cost of living allowance that federal employees have, up to like 25% tax-free income. So at least it would release the financial burden. And I toyed around with the Jones Act, and I said, people say repeal. I say maybe let's waive it for a year or two and see how it goes. If the shipping costs go down, we can buy daily consumables, and that should help also about 20% cheaper here in urban Honolulu. I think it could be, we got to do something now. People have to leave because of the high cost of living here, especially on Oahu and 1st Congressional District.
Aloha, everyone. And first of all, a big mahalo to Olelo Hawaii and their team for creating this opportunity for me to talk directly to you. You know, representing Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District in Congress and now running for re-election, it really has been about having the opportunity to give back to my home. I'm a 4th generation Yonsei Uchinanchu. Our family came from Papailoa on the Big Island, Pu'unene on Maui, Puhi on Kauai, and the windward side of Oahu in the Kailua Kaneohe area. I went to Castle High School, as did my husband. Our 2 children, our 2 sons now go to Castle High School. CD2 has always been and will always be our home. And to now represent all of our islands and our people and community in Congress truly is an honor, a humbling honor for me. But for myself, the big why, in terms of why I'm running again for Congress, why I take my obligation and responsibility so seriously to make sure our voices are heard in Congress and here in Washington, D.C., it really is about our kids. You know, when I sit down at my kitchen table with my 2 sons and my husband, I worry that they will not have a chance to have kitchen tables like this in the future, where they can raise a family and have a good quality of life. Everything from housing our families can afford, good jobs to be able to provide a good quality of life, put food on that table for their families, making sure educational opportunities are there for our kids. And one thing that I've pushed really hard in Congress, access to healthcare and mental health services, regardless of where you live. All of these factors come into play when our children and families ask themselves, can I stay? Can I be here in Hawaii, this place that I love, the place where I was raised, where our roots are? And for too many people, that answer is no. You know, I sadly talk to members of Congress and I tell them that our children and our families have become our greatest export. And so for me, the daily why, the work that I do here with the urgency of a mother, is to make sure that our people can see that future for themselves. Working hard to ensure access to healthcare and mental health services, housing opportunities, working with state and county leaders in our private nonprofit sector to make sure that we can address these barriers and challenges and create opportunities instead. And that's really why I know my work is not done at all. And I really would like humbly to ask for another opportunity to continue to serve our congressional 2 ohana here in Congress. And, you know, one of the other things that has really been a driver for me is making sure that our Maui ohana is cared for. Definitely nothing anyone could have imagined happening over a year ago, but something I have committed myself to. Every week in Congress, literally making sure that a Maui Minute is presented so we can talk about, yes, the challenges and the grief, but also the hope and the opportunity. And our work is far from done. In fact, we will have to support our Maui community, be there for our Lahaina families for generations to come. And that is something that I've committed to every day since the fires, and will continue to do so if I'm given an opportunity to once again serve. And so, you know, there's a lot I could say right here in our conversation that you're seeing at home on television or perhaps even on your mobile device. But more importantly, I hope to see you in the community, in your neighborhoods, in your backyards one day very soon. So thank you again to all who've made this opportunity for us to engage with our constituents and the community possible. And I look forward to seeing you out there on an island, in your backyard, in your community very soon. Take care, everyone. Mahalo.
Youth advocates have been trying to get flavored tobacco and vape products banned statewide in Hawaii for years, but nothing much has changed. What will you do to make this happen and protect kids' health?
Mahalo for that question, and especially as the mother of two teenage boys, making sure that deadly tobacco products, vaping products, e-cigarettes stay out of the hands of our children. It's very important to me. When I was in the state Senate, I passed a number of different bills that made sure that we worked on cessation program, prevention program, even making sure that kids were not exposed to secondhand smoke in cars. And in Congress, I'm doing the same. For example, co-sponsoring the Protect Act. And that means making sure that everything from advertising to how do we create higher taxes, that we're making sure that tobacco companies are not targeting our children and our teens. We've got to do everything we can to keep our kids safe and making sure that we eliminate their exposure to harmful things like vaping and cigarettes and e-cigarettes. That's what I'm all in for. And so mahalo for your advocacy. And please know that I am absolutely 100% a mom ally for the cause.
I see a lot of homeless people in our community, and it really bothers me. If you get elected, how will you help them find homes and get the support they need?
So this is a very complicated question with no easy answer. How do we address homelessness, keep people housed? Number one, we know we've got to increase available units, places where people can go in terms of emergency transition to permanent housing. We've got to build more units. But let's talk about the other factor. It's not just about the roof over the head. It's about the supportive services to help people get to that point where they're moving off of the streets or the shelters and into stable permanent housing. And so that could be everything from looking at substance abuse treatment, mental health support, job training, financial counseling and literacy, opportunities to have childcare so they can actually have a job to keep their families in stable homes. And so for me, when we talk about homelessness and keeping people housed, it's about really building up that supportive support system so that they can be able to be in a position to keep themselves and their loved ones housed permanently into the future.
Why is food so expensive in Hawaii compared to other places? What would you do to help families like mine afford healthier food?
Thank you for this question. So actually, it's really personal to me. And as a member of the House Agriculture Committee, I've actually been fighting to have a readjustment specifically for Hawaii so that when it comes to the food money, SNAP money that people get, that it actually reflects the true cost of food and the scarcity of food in all of our communities. Do you know right now how much money you get in food money through federal programs is based upon Honolulu? I'm fighting to change that. So it's actually based on our island communities, especially our neighbor islands. And so I'm trying to fight for parity so that it is more like Alaska, where we have urban and rural designations for food costs. If we were to change it, you would see neighbor island families getting more food money in their pockets right now than they are compared to the current definition under Honolulu only. And so I'm with you. I want to make sure our families have more money to be able to provide good, nutritious food to help to feed their families. And that's a big priority for me in Congress.
With natural disasters happening more often because of climate change, are we ready to protect people here? What will you do to keep us safe?
Well, this question of climate change is absolutely appropriate. When I fly over my congressional district, I see climate change right at our front door, whether it is drought conditions, whether it is flooding and torrential rains that we're seeing, landslides as a result of it, ecosystems being overrun by invasive species, wildfires, tragically, literally taking lives in our communities. You cannot deny that climate chaos is with us, and we have got to do everything we can to make sure that every part of government, a whole of government approach is applied to climate change. Resources, programs, the actions that we take or do not take to make sure that we are maintaining a healthy relationship, regaining a healthy relationship with our natural resources and our environment. That comes from everything from water to land to our presence here in these islands. And so for me, climate change is a top priority. I am committed to it. We've got to do more because what at the end of the day are we leaving our next generation?
My parents both have to work more than one job just to support our family. Why is that? And what would you do to help families not have to struggle so much?
For most of my life, I've always had more than one job to be able to take care of our family of four. Our two boys, now high school students in public schools that my husband and I went to. When I was growing up, both my mother and father always worked at least one, if not two jobs. I've been there on the picket line with my mother when she had to strike as a member of HGEA. I've been in a labor union. My family's been in a labor union. One job should be enough, but sadly, we know that is not the case. We have got to address things like housing, the cost of food, access to, health care and mental health services, bringing down those costs as well. If we don't, the reality is too many are being priced out of paradise. And so my commitment is a global one. We have got to reduce all these cost drivers that are making our families and our kiki our greatest export. We've got to stop this. It's personal for me. I've got two sons who could be very well priced out of paradise. And you can darn well bet I'm doing everything I can in Congress to make sure our keiki can see a future for themselves here in Hawaii.
Aloha, this is Bob McDermott. A lot of you may recognize me for being around forever. I served 16 years in the State House of Representatives, had broken time starting in 1996 for 3 terms. I was out for 10 years and went back for another 10 years. So I've spanned 4 decades in my service. But I'm running for U.S. Senate, and I could go into a litany of issues, but we only have 5 minutes here. So I'm going to hit 3 of the top issues that differentiate myself from Mrs. Hirono. I could say we disagree on just about every issue, and we do. But the 3 things that concern me most are things that concern you. Inflation. First of all, my goodness, inflation. Have you gone to a fast food place? I was just talking to some of the folks here. A Whopper is like $12.98. I remember when a Jumbo Jack was 99 cents, my first campaign. That's how I fed the volunteers. We went over 99 cents to double digits now for a Whopper. How is that possible? And we're not getting any more for our dollar, right? So this is crazy. Look at gasoline. In fact, what drives inflation is 2 things. The war on fossil fuel, gasoline, right? Electric cars aren't the answer. If you want one, great, get one. I know I have friends who have them. If that's what you need to do, great, if that's what you want, but it's not for everyone. I can't afford an $80,000 electric car. I got 2 cars that are 10 years old. They work just fine. I'm not going to take on a $1,000 a month payment for no reason. And it's no cheaper. You plug it into the wall, your electric bill goes up. And where does that electricity come from? Guess what? Fossil fuel. There ain't no way in the next 20 years that the state of Hawaii is going to get off of oil into electric cars. It's just not happening. Everybody says it, but renewable energy is not renewable. And we can talk about that, but they have to mine the strategic metals that they use for the cars. And by the way, China already controls 80 to 90% of it worldwide. So that's a non-starter. Anyway, inflation. The policies that we're pursuing right now are horrible. They're just horrible. We're spending money that we don't have, so we have to go borrow. When we come into the financial system to borrow money, we crowd you out. When you go for a car loan, we're crowding you out. So how do you even the whole thing out? You raise interest rates. You raise interest rates, as you know, you're not going to be able to buy a house. A $500,000 condo, just 4 short years ago, the cost to buy that same condo, forget if it's gone up or not, and your cost is doubled because the interest rates have more than doubled since then. So the borrowing of money for the excess spending, and then of course the war on fossil fuel, which drove interest rates through the roof. I don't care what the Democrats tell you, they're not oil men or women. They hate oil. Biden said he wants to declare war. He did declare war on fossil fuel, canceled the Keystone Pipeline. The day he got elected, oil futures shot through the roof. He's been antagonistic to the oil and gas producers. And of course, every time you buy a loaf of bread or do anything, it requires movement. And that movement is done by, guess what? Gasoline and oil. So in the near future, those policies of the Biden administration are very short-sighted. That's number one. So inflation is a big issue. It's affecting you. We got to put Trump in there. And if you don't want to vote for Trump, that's fine. Just vote for me. I'll be the guy who will go there and speak on behalf of Hawaii. go to my website, votemcdermott.com, please. I don't want to give you an order, but I'd appreciate it. Votemcdermott.com. And we can talk about the issues. In fact, I only got a minute left, and I got a couple more things to talk about. One of them is the transing of our kids. It's coming from the federal government. It was attached to the COVID education money. That's why you saw in West Virginia and Pennsylvania and Texas and California, all across the nation at the same time, including Hawaii, we have a trans clinic down on Ala Moana, the Ala Moana building. There's a clinic there, and the kids are suffering because of that. And that's very important to me because I'm a father of 8 and a grandfather of 14. And there's so much more I can talk to you about. But what I would suggest is you go to my website, votemcdermott.com, or go YouTube, Bob McDermott for Senate, and you will see that I'm pretty firm on the trans issue, transing kids. I can't stand it. I think it's immoral and, quite frankly, demonic. Until we meet again, this is Bob McDermott. I humbly, humbly ask for your vote and wish you a great day. Aloha, and God bless you all.
Aloha. My name is Emma Jane Avila Pullman, and I am the Green Party candidate for United States Senator of Hawaii 2024. A little about me. I was born in the Philippines on June 27, 1987, and attended school in both the Philippines and America. I'm Filipina German and Irish American. I studied philosophy and political science at USC and earned my Juris Doctorate and Mediator Certificate at Loyola Law School. I'm an Earth lawyer and mediator. My clients include Earth, the Hawaiian honu, monk seals, EO, dolphins, nene, and the Waipio Valley wild horses. I study Plato, and my politics are universal. I believe in fundamental core principles and good government. My primary platform is water, and it is my #1 talking point. Water is life, love, and the most important element in the world. Everyone on Earth is entitled to clean water because clean water is a fundamental human right and a necessity for life. It is the government's primary responsibility to make sure that all people of Hawaii have access to clean water and all waterways and water bodies are clean. Approximately 30% of the global population does not have access to clean water. I genuinely believe that the reality of Earth's water crisis is far more severe. Hawaii is in a state of emergency with respect to water. Hawaii's water is contaminated, dirty, and a biohazard to our community. We still don't know the level of contamination caused by the Red Hill fuel crisis. These tanks are sitting 100 feet above a water aquifer that supplies water to approximately 77% of Oahu's residents, if not more. I want these tanks out of Hawaii, and I want all of Hawaii's water clean. #2, the ocean. The ocean is polluted because resorts and coastal properties are dumping waste and pesticides into the ocean. This is destroying the ocean and coral reefs and harming our keiki and all marine wildlife. Over-tourism, overfishing, and the rediversion of waterways to resorts, golf courses, and swimming pools is creating an imbalance on the entire ecosystem of all islands. In June, 607,000 gallons of waste was dumped into Hilo Bay, causing extreme bacteria contamination that necessitated the closure of Coconut Island. This is an extraordinary violation of the Clean Water Act. We also need to return all dolphins currently held in captivity back to the ocean, and I have prepared a dolphin bill with new legislation for this purpose. #3, Alawai. Alawai is a biohazard. The biggest problem with Alawai is that it is a man-made river. Earth will not correct a man-made river. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has classified Alawai as a dead river and confirmed the completion of 4 brand new designs for Alawai. And they also confirmed that they do in fact have the resources necessary to dredge and incinerate the sludge. The only thing they need is congressional approval, but for whatever reason, our Congress people don't think water is a priority. #4, Mauna Kea. Mauna Kea is sacred land and a place of worship for Native Hawaiians. Mauna Kea's water is contaminated and there is junk everywhere. All foreign countries and entities who have stakeholdership on Mauna Kea are in violation of the Admissions Act of 1959, which holds Mauna Kea as trust land for the benefit of Native Hawaiians and the people of Hawaii, not foreign entities. Number 5, I want Puna Geothermal Venture out of Hawaii. Puna Geothermal Venture is contaminating the water on Big Island and blasting toxic fumes at residents in Puna. They were caught lying on environmental reports and engaging in illegal fracking practices on Kilauea. I want this company out of Hawaii, and I want all of their broken units removed. Number 6, Maui. Lahaina is still recovering from the fire. The banyan tree lives and is flourishing, but the totality of the damage has affected all of Maui. The biggest problem right now is the inability of the county of Maui and the federal government to coexist and complete the paperwork necessary for federal funding. They need third-party contractors to do the job. Number 7, education and food. Education must be paramount in Hawaii. We must rebuild our schools and educate our keiki. I want all schools in Hawaii to serve only locally grown food. This will fund the agricultural industry and create new jobs, new opportunities, and new businesses for all people of Hawaii. Thank you. Aloha. God bless Hawaii, and God bless America.
Youth advocates have been trying to get flavored tobacco and vape products banned statewide in Hawaii for years, but nothing much has changed. What will you do to make this happen and protect kids' health?
Nicotine is one of the most addicting substances on earth. Vape pens are far more addicting than cigarettes. Don't become addicted to something that hurts you. Vape pens are harmful to humans and the earth. I support a ban on vape pens to protect our children.
I see a lot of homeless people in our community, and it really bothers me. If you get elected, how will you help them find homes and get the support they need?
Homeless people need to seek rental assistance, get a job, or join the military. If someone is incapable of doing any of these things due to a physical or mental handicap, they need to accept government shelter and the resources that are offered to them. They cannot sleep on the streets. Everybody is entitled to have a roof over their head. We need more housing for everybody in Hawaii.
Why is food so expensive in Hawaii compared to other places? What would you do to help families like mine afford healthier food?
Food is super expensive in Hawaii because the government is selling all of our food to foreign countries and the mainland. Also, the ban on Russian oil has increased the cost of food exponentially because the cost of food is directly tied to the cost of gas. The solution is to grow more food and keep our food here. As the U.S. Senator, I plan to rebuild Hawaii's agricultural industry.
With natural disasters happening more often because of climate change, are we ready to protect people here? What will you do to keep us safe?
We need to clean our water, plant more trees, grow more food, and end all wars. This is how we solve climate change. It sounds simple because it is. The first problem with climate change is that it's a made-up word that essentially masks the real problem, which is that Earth is suffering from a pollution crisis. We are contaminating our water, air, and food, and cutting all of Earth's trees, basically destroying our oxygen and life sources. This is obviously not sustainable and will need to be corrected immediately. All global leaders need to stop fighting, focus on cleaning Earth's water, and plant more trees.
My parents both have to work more than one job just to support our family. Why is that? And what would you do to help families not have to struggle so much?
We need better jobs that pay more money and more regulation on real estate agents from the mainland setting real estate prices in Hawaii. The government also needs to help women stay home and support small businesses. This will solve many problems in Hawaii.